this life was all I ever wanted.
I'm not leaving. Not yet.
I was hoping you'd say that.
We gotta hit the streets, make some money.
People like us must destroy people like him. Buckle up.
Get Showtime free at Showtime.com.
All right, we go to now the other fight on the main card that was breathtaking in its own way. Although, if you were holding your breath, you didn't have to hold it for very long, BC. Francis Ngannou scores an 18-second KO in the very first round over Jairzinho Rozenstruik, however you want to say it. What the hell is he supposed to do now that the division is on ice? The good news, BC, is that Cormier saying, I'll fight him if they strip Stipe. But I don't think they want to strip a first responder in the middle of a pandemic who is saying, I'm willing to fight. I just need to be in a place where, hello, the gym is open. BC, I know you don't want to revisit it, but I think it's time to revisit it. Look, the biggest reason to have granted an interim title shot between Ngannou and Rozenstruik, hear me out now. I didn't mind at all what Justin Gaethje said and did when he threw the belt off. It's not because I think that guy should be considered right alongside Nurmagomedov. It's not that. What I really cared about is just getting these guys more money. And Justin Gaethje, when he fights Nurmagomedov, is going to get more money. Big Francis is not. To me, that's terribly unfair and a missed opportunity. But at this point, dude, he had an 18-second fight. Now, I know he had a long camp. Are we really going to wait until the fall to get this guy back out here? They have some very hard decisions to make now. To be honest, I don't know what the answer is, because if you strip Stipe, that is terrible press, but you could do it and you could have a fight with Cormier. That's an option. But it has really bad PR. Or you could have him fight Derek Lewis again, which is risky and could blow up everything he's going for, because I would think you would agree he's earned a title shot. I don't know how much appetite there is on either guy's end for that, though, which could make that hard to make. To me, if you had given this guy a belt, I think it would have made him more patient to sit around. And if he had to defend it, he could have potentially gotten more money along the way. To me, a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I have a hard time even defending my own argument. Now, I stand by my own argument that just littering interim belts devalues the overall title, and I do stand by that. Like, yeah, I want these guys to get paid. I don't want it to come at the expense of that. I think UFC can be much more creative in how they figure out the payment structure. But we do have a problem right now, because if they just run him against Derek Lewis and put an interim title at stake, I mean, again, it's kind of cheesy. Like Derek Lewis doesn't necessarily even deserve an interim title opportunity. The only one who might is Cormier. And if you're Cormier, he said it best on the broadcast on Saturday. He said, I want to see Francis Ngannou fight for a title more than anybody. I just don't want to see it against me. Now, of course, he laughed and then rightfully said, of course I'd fight him, right? I don't think he'd fight him for an interim title. So really the best thing that needs to happen is Stipe get into a camp right now. Like the Ohio State Commission just basically says, okay, Stipe's gym can open up. And we basically start the process of Stipe DC3, which can we realize how historic that fight actually is? I feel like we keep talking about it as an afterthought. Stipe himself is talking about it as an afterthought. The winner of that's the greatest heavyweight in UFC history, and really right up there with Fedor. So can we give that fight the potential respect it deserves? I know it's hard when Frank the Tank is just knocking fools out. This 4-fight knockout streak, which is the Blades rematch in 20 seconds, JDS, Cain Velasquez, and now this, all 4 in 71 seconds or less. It was so freaking scary in a real organic way. Remember the first time you watched pro wrestling as a kid and you watched a evil heel and you're like, it's coming through the screen. You're like, oh my God, if I watch this more, he might kick my ass. It's the only time I've seen that kind of feeling in regular fights is the original build of Mike Tyson as heavyweight champion, where you're like, this guy is so crazy. He could kill anybody. That 7-punch combination that Ngannou just basically went into and just figured, you know what? One of these is going to knock him out. I mean, that's certainly not traditional orthodox MMA, but the fact that he's rebuilt himself mentally and sort of gets the business now and gets his role and understands what he has to do to be his very best, he is such a unique attraction. And how is anybody going to stand up against that? Yeah, I watched Stipe go 5 rounds and take a big shot early and then expose him. I do not think the rematch will look like that, and I can't wait to see Ngannou get that shot. But I don't want to ruin what we have now. So here's my pitch. Ngannou, I know you only needed 20 seconds to give Rosenstrick his first L. Just stay in the gym and sit tight. Don't take any fight but the real thing, because that's what's supposed to happen.
He reminds me in many ways, and I did a live show on my YouTube channel after the fight, and folks were asking me about comparisons, and I didn't think of it until one of my viewers brought it up, so I'll give them credit. I forget their name. But they were asking, is he like Deontay Wilder? And in some senses, yes, right? He doesn't have the same, obviously he's speaking in a second language, so I'm telling you, that's very difficult to do. I give him lots of credit for how well he has already done in the second language and how much better he gets day over day, first of all. But second of all, like, Deontay is sort of known as having all these other weaknesses but the bomb. And to be clear, Ngannou has a lot of weaknesses by virtue of the fact that he's just not been doing this very long, and he also has the bomb. But his bomb, I mean, with the smaller gloves, it just seems to have an impact more quickly. You had mentioned the 4 fight wins there. I think Mike Bond of MMA Junkie had said if you add them all up, it's just 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Like, dude, that is shocking. That is a shocking amount of power translated into fighting efficiency. I talked to people in his camp. They told me that was the wrong combination. He was supposed to finish it with a kick and instead just decided to throw a left hook on the go, and it still had that kind of an impact. Like, he just improvised in the moment, and it still laid this guy out completely, who, by the way, had nearly 80 kickboxing fights. It is, to me, it's like he's got the power of Wilder. He doesn't have that American bombast, but I think that there were just not... There's an opportunity if they can find a way, BC, to get this guy busy. He is more marketable than I think a lot of folks, if not necessarily realize, that we've just produced to this point. There's more to this story here, and everyone loves a hard scrabble story, the kind that he has coming from Cameroon, real hardcore dirt poverty, and to translate what he's translated into, and his coaches tell me, dude, you've not seen it. His ground game has gotten so much better. His cardio is better. He can go 5 rounds. They're telling me he's requesting 5 rounds in the gym instead of 3 just to make sure that he's on point. Doesn't really matter if you knock a guy out at 18 seconds. All my point is on this one is there's no easy answer. I'll just say if they have to keep him on ice until the winner of DC versus Stipe, that is a very suboptimal outcome given what he's ready for and how I think he's like 34 at this point. It's not a great time for him.
But an interim title bout against an opponent who doesn't deserve an interim title opportunity, and it's already a fake title, that's suboptimal. But I think that loss he had, the 2 losses back-to-back, Stipe and Lewis, were the absolute greatest thing that could happen to him. He is so mentally where he needs to be. Some people said, how could he not call out Stipe afterwards? You know, I thought he just handled it perfectly because he handled it who he is. He's basically like, I can't control UFC's title system and their opportunities. I'm just basically going to keep knocking fools out. So I love that. You know, you mentioned his hard scrabble story. Don't forget he was homeless, too, in Paris, living out of his car when he first moved there and tried to chase this MMA dream. All he needs is a snaggletooth, and he's basically Jewel. We love this type of story, all right? Hey, and also, and now while we're here in the 90s, it's 2020. I love that our producer, Jay, who's in my ear telling me to get to the next topic. I love that he could have all this great technology sent to my house and yours, Luke, and we can make this show, by the way, during this quarantine, the best produced show there is in the game, and it is, okay? It's way better than our competitors. Jay cannot produce the 90s counter, though.
No, he's not. He's very, very, very bad at that. Jay's bad at most things, unless you want to talk about unintentionally bad cover band imitations, and then he's all over it. He's got that on lock.
This life was all I ever wanted.
I'm not leaving. Not yet.
I was hoping you'd say that.
We gotta hit the streets, make some money.
People like us must destroy people like him. Buckle up.
Get Showtime free at Showtime.com.